Now, from the station on your side, this is WAVY News 10.
We're on top of breaking news in Williamsburg, where police dispatchers say a helicopter crashed into a residential area. Here's what we know about the scene so far. Dispatchers say this happened on Settlement Drive. That's right across from Dillard Field, which is part of the College of William and Mary. Our Chris Horn is monitoring the latest from our newsroom. Chris, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Kayla, of course, information very sketchy. We're just getting early reports so far, but the College of William and Mary has put out an alert asking for people to avoid the area. Take a look at this video from viewer Kaylee Clardy. Smoke, flames coming up from buildings. We're working to learn more about this situation. Most importantly, casualties, if anyone was hurt or injured or anyone killed in this crash. A different angle of the firefight now. You can see flames coming from a large hole in the roof of a building. We have a crew on the way to the scene. In fact, we have multiple crews on the way to this scene. And of course, we will monitor this crash for you and give you updates in this newscast. Have the latest on WAVY News 10 at 10 on Fox 43 and right back here on WAVY News 10 at 11. Chopper 10 on the way. We also have ground crews on the way. We'll get you updated on this if we can in the hour of this newscast. But that's the latest for now. Chopper crashed into what we believe is a condominium or townhouse complex, Settlement Drive, Williamsburg area, near the College of William and Mary. Avoid that area right now. We'll have the latest for you as soon as we get it. Chris Horn, 10 on your side.
Well, Chris, thanks. And here's a live look from Chopper 10 as it heads to the breaking news in Williamsburg. Again, we will continue to stay on top of this throughout the hour and bring you live updates as soon as we get that information. And it was a beautiful day out there, but it did come with some dangerous water. If you were sitting on the sand where conditions were pretty nice, but red flag warnings are still up on several beaches. We're seeing them from Sandbridge to Virginia Beach Oceanfront, down to Kill Devil Hills and Nags Head on the Outer Banks. Well, now meteorologist Ashley Baylor, who is keeping an eye on the forecast and the system that is making that water so rough. Ashley.
That's right. We are tracking Tropical Storm Chris, which is the reason that the rip current risk is high. It's the reason that the surf is very rough out there and extends from the eastern shore through the oceanfront all the way down to the Outer Banks. Now, before we get to that, let's take a look at this beautiful shot we have from Tower Cam 10. Hardly a cloud in sight. It's really been a beautiful, beautiful day out there. Temperatures were comfortably in the 70s. We had comfortable levels of humidity. I wish this would keep going, but yeah, the heat is going to start to creep back up as we head into the work week. We're at 74 degrees in Virginia Beach right now. It's 75 in Norfolk, farther inland, 77 in Suffolk, 78 degrees in Franklin, and we're at 82 degrees in Williamsburg. As you can see, dew points range anywhere from the upper 50s to the low 60s, even a few mid 60s farther inland, but it doesn't really feel humid whatsoever, even though those dew points indicate a little bit of stickiness in the air. And you can see we're still tracking winds out of the northeast, sustained anywhere between 5 up to 18 miles per hour. And once again, we did see occasional wind gusts up to 30 today, so that certainly kept things a little bit cooler closer to the coastline. Now here's a look at our satellite and radar composite. Not much going on here, but the farther south you go from Manio and points south, that's where you are running into a little more cloud cover, and that's where we have seen a few spotty showers out there, and you can get a clear shot of Tropical Storm Chris right now. Wind sustained at 50 miles per hour, and it is stationary, so it is not moving. But what that means for us here in Hampton Roads in northeast North Carolina, the rip current risk is going to remain high. In fact, it's going to remain high over the next several days, even once this system does kick out into the Atlantic. The rough surf, again, as I said, from the eastern shore along the oceanfront down to the Outer Banks. So the red flags are likely going to be flying over the next couple of days. I'll have another update on this and Beryl for you coming up in our full forecast.
Well, Ashley, thanks. And 10 on your side was at the Virginia Beach oceanfront, where many people were enjoying their weekend. But we're also dealing with some rough water. Photojournalist Chris Akers spoke with Virginia Beach Life Saving Service, who had this to say.
This is not what we are used to seeing, and it's really, really dangerous. We want people to stay out of the water until things calm down and we can safely let people get in there and have a fun time without putting themselves in danger.
And remember, you can always stay connected with our WAVY weather app. It's free to download for all smartphones and tablets. Well, the search continues for a missing Virginia Beach woman. 39-year-old Bellamy Gamboa disappeared last Sunday after leaving her home at the Diamond Springs Apartments. Today, nearly 50 friends and loved ones took to the streets and roads to search for her. They gathered in groups, and the search party looked through the wooded areas near Pickering Street, where police found her car. abandoned by a dumpster. Gamboa's sister, Charisse Gamboa, says she's not giving up hope her big sister will come home.
To just come forward, please. Like, we just need her back. And yeah, she's a human being, and this is like real life. So for her kids.
She went on to say she's a little overwhelmed by all the support, but also very grateful.
We have friends that, my sister hasn't seen in a while and I haven't seen, so everyone's just spreading the love.
Bellamy's birthday is coming up later this week. Her family hopes to see her home before she turns 40. They're offering a cash reward to prompt more tips. And police want you to call them with any information about her disappearance. Even if it seems insignificant, it could be helpful. And remember, you never have to give your name if you call the crime line or use it at P3 Tips app. Developing now in Newport News, fire investigators are trying to figure out how a boat caught fire on the Denby docks. Richard Barber sent us these pictures of it. Police say this happened around 1 this afternoon, and crews say 2 people on the 19-foot boat made it off safely with no injuries. The Virginia Marine Police are investigating. The search for stolen vehicles in Poquoson led officers on a chase for 4 suspects. Officers say it all started on Charles Parish Drive near Wythe Creek Road when police were investigating a stolen SUV. They found an SUV matching the description and 4 cars, so they followed the drivers. When an officer tried to stop them, they sped off. 3 of the cars crashed and the drivers ran. A 4th vehicle attempted to turn around on the street, and police say the driver hit 2 Poquoson police cruisers in the process. That driver eventually ditched the vehicle as well. Poquoson police, with the help of York County Sheriff's deputies, were able to catch the 4 suspects. Officers also found the 5th reportedly stolen car in Hampton with the help of their police department. And now looking ahead, if you work or are heading to Newport News Shipbuilding, you can expect your route to be a little different than normal. Crews are replacing the Huntington Avenue Bridge. Part of Huntington Avenue between 39th and 42nd Street will be closed off. Traffic will be rerouted up to Washington Avenue and back down to 39th Street. New traffic lights were just added at the corner of Washington Avenue and 42nd Street and Washington and 39th Street. There will also be a fenced-off pedestrian walkway and a crosswalk to help shipyard workers get to their destination. This traffic pattern will be in place for a year while crews replace the 119-year-old bridge. And if you're just joining us, we are following breaking news in Williamsburg. We are working to learn more about the helicopter that crashed into a residential building. You're looking live at Chopper 10 that is heading to the scene right now. We are working to get more information from our crews on the ground. Continue to stay with us for updates. Well, welcome back. Going through the court system can be hard, especially for a child. That's why there are local volunteers to help them, specifically for victims of abuse and neglect. Earlier this year, we told you about 2 child abuse cases that turned deadly in Norfolk. Groups are working to stop that from happening. Court-appointed special advocates, or CASA, can serve as a voice for the kids in the Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court. Judges assign them to those victims to be their eyes and ears outside of the courthouse. Norfolk CASA has been around for 30 years. They say their numbers have grown and there's a waiting list. They're always looking for more volunteers.
Short-term goals is to meet the need of every child that's been ordered to us. And our long-term goals is to never have a child. So our long-term goal would be to end child abuse. But until then, every child that the judges trust us to look after, to do the best we can.
10 on your sides, Kara Dixon sits down with Norfolk CASA about their growing numbers and the need for assistance. See Voices for the Children tomorrow night at 6. And still ahead, a wedding fiasco no one wants to deal with. What went terribly wrong for a Newport News couple on their big day. And we are also following breaking news out of Williamsburg. A helicopter crashed into a residential area. You're looking at pictures of the flames coming from a building on Settlement Drive. We'll continue to stay on top of this developing story. And remember, we are on your side every morning with the latest overnight news, Super Doppler 10 forecast, and 10 times safer traffic. Join Dawn, Katie, Lex, Jeremy, and Jen starting tomorrow at 4:30 a.m. You're on the air until 9 a.m. on Fox 43. We have another update now about breaking news in Williamsburg, where police dispatchers say a helicopter crashed into a residential area. Here's what we know so far about the scene. Dispatchers say this happened on Settlement Drive. Now it's right across from Dillard Field, which is part of the College of William and Mary. The school put out an alert asking for people to avoid the area. And take a look at this video from viewer Kaylee Clardy. It shows smoke and flames coming up from buildings. We are working to learn more about the situation and, most importantly, if anyone was hurt. And here's a live look from Chopper 10. It's about 10 minutes from the scene of the fire. We have team coverage of this crash. Our Chris Horn is monitoring the latest developments from the newsroom. Brett Hall is on the ground gathering new information. As soon as we learn anything more, we will continue to keep you updated here and online. And new at 6, a wedding nightmare for a local couple. Imagine it's your special day. You've already shelled out thousands of dollars for food, and the caterer, well, he doesn't show up. That was the reality for a Newport News couple. Brent Solomon from our affiliate in Richmond says they weren't the first couple to have it happen with that specific caterer.
A grand affair for a match made in heaven.
We had all this planned because we want to make the event happy for all our friends and family.
Newlyweds David and Zinley Zink of Newport News hired Richmond area caterer Frank Crump for their big day.
I attended a wedding that he did.
Frank Crump is the same caterer I told you about last month. He accepted payment from this couple, Robert and Katina Jones, and never showed up for the wedding. Unlike the Joneses, the Zinks signed a contract with Crump outlining the $2,200 deal. They paid him a deposit and then a final balance.
When he received the payment for $1,568, he called me that day and said, "Hey, I got the check, just wanted to let you know." And I thought that was like so courteous of him to do that, you know.
Over a series of text messages, the couple says Crump kept saying he was so excited to cater their special day. After months of communicating, June 23rd finally arrived.
He had agreed with the coordinators to arrive at noon.
Noon came. Crump didn't.
By 1 o'clock, we knew there were red flags.
Yeah.
He texted my bridesmaid that he was having car trouble. So she said, "Well, where are you? My husband will come get you." And I guess at that point she called his bluff and he went silent after that.
So they had to dish out money again, getting a nearby restaurant to step in on the very day they tied the knot.
If you got my money or our money, why keep stringing us along till the wedding day, till 1 o'clock?
Days after the wedding, the couple says Crump sent this email. "Nothing I can say will remedy this. I will be getting a cashier's check today and return your money." The same promise made to the Joneses.
Are you still in the wedding catering business? Do you still cater weddings?
After we learned about the most recent issue, our intern Sarah called Crump, asking if he was still taking on new clients. He said yes and asked when the big day would be.
He knew he wasn't coming. Why keep us stringing along? It's almost like he wanted us.
Silent a week before.
He did it on purpose.
That was Brent Solomon reporting. Nearly 2 weeks after the Newport News couple got that email from Crump about returning their money, they still don't have it. The first couple has been waiting for about 5 weeks. The Zinks have since reached out to police. The Better Business Bureau offers these tips for wedding contracts. Get several references before hiring someone and use a credit card because it comes with more consumer protections.
Now, your Super Doppler 10 forecast from meteorologist Ashley Baylor.
All of our forecast updates are at WAVY.com.
Well, Ashley, thanks. And we are just getting started here at 6. Coming up, we are on top of breaking news out of Williamsburg, where a devastating helicopter crashed this afternoon. 10 on your sides, Brett Hall will be live from the ground with the latest. Stay with us. An update now to breaking news out of Williamsburg. A helicopter crashed into a residential area, causing a huge fire. It happened on Settlement Drive, right near Dillard Field. Our Brett Hall is live on the ground, and he joins us now from the phone. Brett, what are you seeing?
Well, it's definitely a grimly scene right now. We're actually in the Bristol Commons apartments, and that is where whatever crashed, we're being told it's a helicopter, crashed into apartments. I was just told by a person who said he was in the apartment complex next to the building where the aviation equipment went down, and he said the whole place shook, and then he opened up the blinds, and all he could see was an inferno. He said it was just fire everywhere. You can still smell the jet fuel, but the Williamsburg Fire Department has seemed to have gotten all the flames out. There's still a little bit of smoke rising. Chopper 10 is over the scene right now as well, and this is a pretty big building. He said each unit probably has around 6 units in it. Looks like a 2-story structure, and it is just a lot of it just disseminated by the impact of whatever exactly crashed in there. We are still working to get information on victims in this case. There are a lot of people around, many people shaking. This looks like a very disturbing sight. It is a very disturbing sight, and emergency personnel are plentiful as well. We're going to keep trying to get the information for you to see exactly what happened and how many people may be affected by this. Reporting live in Williamsburg, Brett Hall, 10 on your side.
Well, all good information there, Brett, and as you can see from these aerial photos, it is a completely devastating scene in Williamsburg. We will continue to stay on top of this throughout the show. We'll also be bringing updates online as well. Stay with us.
From the station on your side, you're watching WAVY News 10 at 6.
Well, if you're just joining us, we're following breaking news in Williamsburg, where police dispatchers say a helicopter crashed into a residential area. This happened on Settlement Drive right across from Dillard Field, which is part of the College of William and Mary. Chopper 10 is live above the scene right now, and you can see the extent of that devastation. Our Chris Horn is monitoring the latest from the newsroom. Chris, what can you tell us?
Yeah, and let's go back to that chopper video if we can. Kayla, the College of William and Mary has put out an alert asking for people to avoid the area. However, their latest alert said that this is not on campus. What you're seeing, and we're going to be probably going in and out because as we hover over the scene in Chopper 10, but you can see serious structural and roof damage. This happened between 4:30 and 5 o'clock this afternoon. This is a lot of viewers are giving us pictures of the scene, video of the scene. We just heard from Brett Hall. He is already on the ground there. We've got emergency crews, first responders responding to however many casualties there are there. If you see it, though, as you can see from Chopper 10, this is a very grim scene, a lot of significant damage, a lot of charring, a lot of structural damage, fire damage caused by this helicopter that went into these, apparently they look like townhouses, private residences near the William and Mary campus, but not part of William and Mary housing. Zooming out now, Scott Abbott is pulling out, hovering over the scene with videographer Chris Omahan. We also have a crew on the ground. Brett Hall will be reporting from the scene. I'll be going up. We're going to find out what happened here, how many people were injured or potentially killed. We're not sure about casualties at this point, but we'll monitor this crash for you and give you updates in this newscast, and of course have the latest for you on WAVY News 10 on Fox 43 at 10 o'clock and WAVY News 10 at 11. In the newsroom, Chris Horn, 10 on your side.
Now, your Super Doppler 10 forecast from meteorologist Ashley Baylor.
I'm going to have your extended forecast coming up for you in just a few minutes.
Well, Ashley, thanks. A man from New York says he's suing the Spirit of Norfolk after he claims he got hurt on the pleasure yacht. The 66-year-old man claims he slipped on the anti-skid coating on the top deck in June of 2016. In the suit, the man says his feet caught the anti-skid decking, causing him to fall. He's seeking nearly $375,000 in damages. And we're still working to learn more about a fire in Chesapeake that left a 6-month-old baby seriously injured. It happened yesterday in the South Norfolk section of the city. 5 children were in the home on Wright Avenue yesterday afternoon when the fire broke out. The 4 older children made it out okay. Firefighters found the baby downstairs. It went to the hospital with critical injuries. Police are still investigating the cause. And we're following breaking news from Williamsburg. A helicopter has crashed into a residential area of the city just north of the Colonial area. This is viewer video of the fiery scene on Settlement Drive. We have Chopper 10 above, and we're learning more about what happened. Stay with us. We'll have another update after this short break.
From the station on your side, you're watching WAVY News 10 at 6.
We're following breaking news from Williamsburg. A helicopter has crashed into a residential area of the city just north of the Colonial area. This is a live look at the scene on Settlement Drive from Chopper 10. It happened about 2 hours ago. You can see lots of emergency vehicles on the scene, and we are working to find out details about what happened. Our Brett Hall is live there on the ground right now. He has the latest information. So, Brett, what are you seeing and what have you learned so far?
Well, the best way I can describe is that it takes your breath away when you walk up to see the destruction of this apartment building that reportedly a helicopter crashed into. There are a lot of people out here in the Bristol Commons apartments here in Williamsburg that are speechless as well. I spoke to one gentleman who was in an apartment next door to the complex that was impacted. He said he was just sitting on his bed. All of a sudden, he heard a big explosion. His apartment shook. He opened up the blinds, and it was an inferno outside. People from the apartment complex, actually the next property over, said they heard a helicopter cross very low to their house. Another person came up to me. They heard it felt like it scraped to the top of their roof before crashing into a complex that has multiple units in it, 6 units in some of them, according to people that live in the buildings here. And while the fire seems to be out, you can still smell the jet fuel. It's hard to imagine this happening, and we don't yet know the condition of anybody involved. Once again, it looks very severe, but we don't know if there are any victims at all in this case. We imagine there are, but we do not know that yet. We also do not know exactly what may have led to this all occurring. This is a very active scene that firefighters and emergency personnel are going to be on for quite a while. We are going to continue to bring you the latest here and on the website. Reporting live in Williamsburg, Brett Hall, 10 on your side.
All good information there, Brett. And again, we will continue to check back in with him there on the ground. And Chris Horn is following this information from the newsroom as those details become available.
From the station on your side, you're watching WAVY News 10 at 6.
We're staying on top of breaking news now out of Williamsburg, where police dispatchers say a helicopter crashed into a residential area. What we know so far about the scene, dispatchers say this happened on Settlement Drive. That's right across from Dillard Field, which is part of the College of William and Mary. The school put out an alert asking for people to avoid the area. Take a look at this video from viewer Kaylee Collardi. It shows smoke and flames coming up from buildings. We're working to learn more about the situation and, most importantly, if anyone was hurt. Our Chris Horn is monitoring the latest developments from the newsroom, and Brett Hall is on the ground gathering more information. As soon as we learn any of those updates, we'll bring them to you here as breaking news.
Now, your Super Doppler 10 forecast from meteorologist Ashley Baylor.
All of our forecast updates are at WAVY.com.
And if you're just joining us, we're following breaking news out of Williamsburg, where police dispatchers say a helicopter crashed into a residential area. This happened on Settlement Drive right across from Dillard Field, which is part of the College of William and Mary. Our Chris Horn is monitoring the latest from the newsroom. And Chris, you say you just got in new information.
Yeah, we did, Kayla. This is a release that came at 6:49, so actually 4 minutes ago, from Virginia State Police. And I'm going to read it for you. We're going to show you some live chopper video right now, what it looks like from the air. It's going to go in and out, but if you can kind of hang with us, there it is again. Bristol Commons, Settlement Drive. That is in the Williamsburg area off of Ironbound Road near Dillard Field. Here's the release from Virginia State Police. VSP responded to a 911 call about an aircraft crashing into a residential structure in Williamsburg, and there you see it from Chopper 10. The crash occurred in the 1100 block of Settlement Drive. The impact of that crash caused a fire within the townhouse structure. You can see the charred remains of that townhouse that was struck by that helicopter between 4:30 and 5 o'clock this afternoon. At this time, state police, with the assistance of Williamsburg police, are still assessing the scene to determine what injuries, if any, have occurred and to identify the type of aircraft involved. The FAA and NTSB have been notified and are responding to the scene. And the VSP spokeswoman says she will push out more information as it becomes available. But you can see from Chopper 10 that this crash has caused a lot of damage on Settlement Drive, a townhouse community that is near a field that is related to the College of William and Mary. At first, the college pushed out an alert and said that there was something going on, just to let everybody know. But this field is actually not on the main campus. There was also other ball fields around it. There's a Kiwanis sports complex nearby, near this ironbound road where Settlement Drive is. Chopper 10 circling this. If we get out of this without any serious casualties, we'll be very lucky. If you take a look at that damage caused by that helicopter crash at 4:42 this afternoon. And we heard from Brett Hall. He was on the scene. He said when he pulled up to the scene, he could smell aviation fuel. That, just from my experience from covering airplane crashes, when you smell a lot of fuel, that means it probably did not run out of fuel. So we'll have to find out what happened. That's why the FAA and NTSB will start to probe this crash. And we'll have the latest for you, of course, coming up tonight on WAVY News 10 at 10 o'clock on Fox 43. And, of course, WAVY News 10 at 11 o'clock. Helicopter crash. We don't know the number of casualties. We'll get that to you as soon as we can. That's the latest from the newsroom. Chris Horn, 10 on your side.
Well, all good information there, Chris. And again, we will check back in with him and Brett Hall on WAVY News 10 over on Fox 43 at 10 o'clock and again at 11 as well as online. Ashley, those were some devastating images.
They are. And so, it's very tough to kind of segue out of something that's that tragic and say it's been a beautiful day out there. But, it was actually. And maybe one of the other things that the firefighters had to face was the fact that we still have that driving northeast wind. So it probably didn't help them. But, at least the fire is out at this point. But we have to talk about Tropical Storm Chris, really, because that's been the big story here, is that with that tropical storm sitting just off the coast of the Carolinas, it's created rough surf and a very high risk of rip currents, not only across the ocean front and the Outer Banks, but also up along the eastern shore as well. So that's something to keep in the back of your mind, not just for tomorrow, but over the coming days. I would suspect that the red flags will be flying, because once that system even pulls out into the Atlantic, unfortunately, there's still some residual effects. So tomorrow we're looking at lots of sunshine, 82 degrees, so another comfortable day out there, but the heat starts to increase as we head into the middle of the week. The only chance of showers Wednesday, isolated showers and thunderstorms.